Welcome into episode number 135 of About the Cards podcast, live tonight on YouTube. As always, with me, host Stephen Loeffler at Junkwax Twins, Ben Wilson at our trading cards, and I'm Tim Scheffler at Big Shep 79. We are a podcast by collectors for collectors, hoping to bring you a smart and insightful podcast discussing trading card collecting. We're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific
10 Central.
On YouTube, Periscope, Facebook Live. Follow us on Twitter at About the Cards. Available as a podcast everywhere you can find one. Check out the website, aboutthecards.wordpress.com. Underdog Collectibles. Remember, they are a card shop for collectors run by collectors, and you can join them live on YouTube and Facebook every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for live card breaks. They offer a wide variety of break options that won't break the bank. Remember, always bet on the underdog. Guys, what up? It's been a crazy week. I've been without internet for almost 24 hours. I'm losing my mind. I'm doing the show from my phone, so hopefully I'll be able to stay with it. We lost Hall of Famer Hank Aaron on Friday. He was 86, 25-time All-Star. We're going to get into covering him a little bit, but we have two very special guests with us this evening. We have Blake Jamieson, fame of Project 2020 for all of us card nerds, and we also have Chris Torres on with us, who spent quite a bit of time talking about sharing his thoughts on Project 2020. So we're going to get into these guys tonight. Chris was supposed to be on a couple weeks ago. He went through were they without power 2 weeks ago and had to reschedule. It was kismet. We ended up with Blake on the show tonight. Let's get into it. So Blake, what was your experience like with welcome in again? You broke news last time on our show. The wire, the 87 and 85 combo, it ended up on the cover of Beckett. It was, I think, probably my favorite card of the set. You broke the news here. What was your experience like with Project 2020 last year?
Well, it was awesome. I mean, that card and that coming out, I mean, that was like peak right before the bubble. So a lot changed since then. It's been a wild, wild ride. Regardless, it was so much beyond my expectations going into the year last year. And it set a really high benchmark now for going forward with future projects, because I think that a lot of people are going to look back at Project 2020. It's the original one of kind of that concept. And, already we're seeing, kind of new evolutions of that same idea, but I don't know, something special about that. It was an amazing year.
No, it was, and now that we get to see it all in retrospect, it looks great. I mean, how do you feel about your whole, all 20 of your cards when you see them as a whole complete set? How do you feel when you see that? I mean, the accomplishment it was, the memories, the ups and downs of trying to get creative and come up with those cards. What does it mean to you now for reflecting back and seeing all of them together?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool. I'm proud of each of them. Ever since I did the Mark McGwire one, I mean, that one's been my favorite the entire time. But it was fun because the Bob Gibson card, which was my last card, ended up being my second favorite card. And really, just graphically, I think it was my favorite. But the Mark McGwire has so much of a story, and a personal kind of meaning to me. So that was fun to evolve and get to the very end, my 20th card and that one to be my favorite of the set. And so I think what I learned is now moving forward, going into the Project 70, I know I already have my set in mind and I have a much better understanding of how that works. And I don't know, it's just, it'll be fun to take it into the next set and see kind of how, the process continues to evolve.
Yes. So you have that. We kind of found out about it last week as we were going live on the show. We talked about it, but you have a current solo project you're doing at Topps. You have 1951 by Blake Jamieson. It's a 4-week release, which is 13 cards a week per wave. It's going to run $20. And there's a bit different parallels inserts you can have. And they're offering some autographed versions. How did that come about? Did you get to pick the checklist? How's that project? How did that project get going, and how did it evolve?
So Topps and I started talking about probably around the time that I was on last and we were doing the Mark McGwire stuff. Topps started to talk to the artists about future projects together, and we just started spitballing ideas. And so we had a few, maybe a half a dozen different ideas. I was really, for a while it looked like it was going to be like a T206 kind of thing. It would have been like wave 7 of T206 or something like that. And I thought for a long time that was going to happen, and then it didn't. And so I really like the vintage stuff. And so Topps had suggested 1951 being the first year that they had the MLB license, and just kind of this unique special set that was really focused on like portraits and like headshots of the athletes. And I think that type of portrait is one of my strengths, I guess, in terms of just translating my art to like something that'll be shrunk down for a card. So I don't know. It was a really cool collaborative idea between Topps and myself. And like, as it's come together, I mean, it was wild where like we were negotiating it for so long, and then we finally locked it in. And then I had to paint all 52 in the month of December. So that was wild, but I also couldn't talk about it until after the first of the year. So it was like, it was hard, me, like I stream so much and put out so much content, but like to have to be working like, 40, 50 hours a week on a project that I can't talk about or show. It's hard to keep people engaged outside of that, but figured it out.
That's great. And especially, Holly and all this stuff coming up, and how hard not to be able to publicize or do something so cool. Did you have any say in the checklist, or who was going to be in there, or did they come with you and say, hey, this is who we want?
So they came to me with a full checklist. There was an error where they had one player listed twice, and so I pointed that out to them, and then I requested that they add Hank Aaron, and Hank hadn't been in the set, and so now I'm really glad that I did, because that happened, in November or something like that, as we were kind of finalizing everything right before production started. So I'm glad that he got in the set. I wish he would have been a fun one to do in Project 2020, but with Project 70, artists get to choose our own. So I have him in my set there too.
Nice.
I think that like doing like multiples of a single player, like I'll have, several Mark McGwire cards, several Cal Ripken, Frank Thomas. That'll be really fun.
Thanks. Yeah. My pocketbook thanks you.
Man,
so they brought you Reggie Jackson as a Yankee, and you're like, nope, not gonna draw him as a Yankee. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's but with both 1951 and Project 70, I get to choose my own images, which is a really cool thing. I know that some people started doing that with Project 2020. Since I don't know, I was just committed to doing the original card. I don't know. Anyways, it's fun to play with other images as well.
No, that's cool.
Well, and I know that during your show just before this, you were saying that you've already had really nice returns for your Wave 1 and Wave 2, which, I mean,
yeah,
completely deserving.
Thank you.
Well,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that I think it's easy to think, like, look at it and think about, okay, this is a $20 product, and a Project 2020 card's a $20 product. This the print run was $7,600, which is fantastic. I'm really happy with that. But you are getting people are getting 13 cards for $20. So I think it's great. Like, that price point is sweet. Personally, like, as an artist, I wish that our Project 2020 cards hit at like a $9.99 price point for a card. I think it would be really cool. But get our art into more homes. But I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. Is that 7,600 usually that for a Wave 1 of something? That's probably one of the bigger numbers that we've seen in the past couple of years. I think people are realizing that's you want to hop in, and you want to hop in first, and then see where it plays out, because you never know what it's going to be. And I was kind of undecided. We were talking about on the show, and I pulled it up during our show that week when it was announced that first Wednesday, and I was like, I'm going to hop in and I'm going to buy this, because I'm probably never going to get to build the original one. But if I can have an updated one with especially, when Brett was in there, I was like, dude, this is right off the bat, Wave 1, this is talking to me. Let's hop in, let's do this. And just seeing the different images and the back, the color backs, I think it's a very unique way to go about it. And I think it's something cool where people can get exposed to that early vintage. I mean, with Topps Living, they're using the 1953 design. Your project, they're using 51. The 2020, they used all of the rookie cards, so people got to look back and see how cards were before and maybe they weren't collecting or have any idea about vintage. So that's very cool.
Yeah, for sure.
What is Project 70 like? Is it now a bunch of artists doing 70 cards? Like what is it going to be, and when does it start? When we might see the first cards hit?
So a lot of it's up in the air still. And so essentially it's artists collaborating with Topps again. However, we've got most of the guys from Project 2020 and Girl have come back, and then we have a whole bunch of new talent as well. And I unfortunately don't know the entire list of who they selected. I know that there was a list that leaked, and there were some really cool big names on there. To my knowledge, I think that list was pretty correct, but it wasn't entirely correct. I know it had some typos. I think there were some missing that should have been on there, and vice versa. But yeah, it's going to be really cool. Like I said, we get to choose our own players, our own subject list, and then we get to choose our own photograph of that player. And then, this is celebrating 70 years of Topps designing baseball cards, and so we're basically taking inspiration from all the different decades, all the different kind of base top sets, and then using those in new ways. So, for me, I'm going to be using some of the older vintage inspiration, like I'm working with the 59 design, but if it's with a modern player in baseball right now. And so we kind of get to pair all that together and curate our own set that kind of, I think that each set, I'm not 100% sure of this because I guess every artist is going to kind of do their own thing, but like my set is going to have something from all of the eras of Topps cards, as far as like inspired designs. And then the players are some of my favorite players, some fan, suggestions, some strategically that I think are going to just do really well and get a lot of attention. So it's going to be crazy because seeing that we have all the 2020 artists plus more, like it just means that the set's even bigger. And, we're assuming now that the price point is going to be the same. And so it's a lot of money to collect a whole set. And so I think we're going to see a lot of people that are collecting, either an artist or a player or a team, and see a lot of cool sets built that way where everyone can build sets, different ways like we've seen.
Now, did you pick up any new? Have you noticed like any in your tradition, the art you've come to be famous for? Have you picked up any new clients from doing those baseball card projects? Have you seen that
Yeah. So on one hand, I just get DMs, whether it's on Twitter or Instagram or YouTube or email or whatever, people inquiring about starting a project. And usually when someone's coming through that process, one of the things that me or my team is asking is how you found, how they found out about me. And over the last 12 months, 9 out of 10 times if somebody's inquiring about getting something done, they found me through Topps Project 2020. So that's definitely cool. Impactful. I also think that like it's helped. It's just like a credibility thing, especially like in the professional sports space. Like an agent who I'd worked with in the past several years ago. They rep some top NFL clients. They had done some stuff with me early on, gave them a great price. They came back to me now, like seeing stuff like Topps, and they're like, "Oh, now you're doing this. Can we get something new for now a new client of ours?" And I explained to them like prices are entirely different than where we were at when we worked together 4 or 5 years ago, or not really long, but 2 years ago, right? But it's cool because of things like Topps, they're like, yeah, okay, well that makes sense. Because I tell them like these are the type of projects I'm working on. I can't do a commission painting and spend all my time on this if it's not like the market rate. So it's been amazing for business all around.
So to Project 70, the 1951 set, your tagline for yourself anyway was pretty good at painting, which we kind of disagree because we think you're pretty excellent at painting. But how truly bad are you at baseball?
I mean, I'm not horrible, but I'm not good, man. I stopped playing shortly after T-ball. I didn't have the patience to stand still And so I played soccer growing up and then lacrosse in college. So, I mean, I'm athletic. I like to think I'm athletic and have like hand-eye coordination, but actual baseball I haven't played in a long time. But I do still like, I have my glove. It was actually my dad's glove growing up, but now at some point he passed it on to me. And so in theory I could go throw around. I think that
Go play Sandlot.
yeah, I mean, I think, having like sports return to normal again and sometime in the future, like doing I'd like to be able to like throw a first pitch and like I don't have to like throw a strike, but like I need it to get over the plate and like be catchable.
Not like 50 Cent where it like went like
yeah,
way over
that way.
I get my own Fauci Topps Now kind of card.
There you go.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just I thought it was funny. Michael wanted me to put something on, the little kind of factoids that they put for the players. And at first I had like a more serious one that I didn't think was any fun. And so we decided to do something more fun.
Very cool. Chris, do you have questions for Blake? Because I know you covered Project 2020 quite a bit.
No, not directly. Blake's the only person I interviewed. I didn't really do any interviews of artists throughout the whole year. So no, for Blake, I don't. I think, his story speaks for himself, and I don't really have any questions. I'm more excited about Project 70 right now, but I know a lot of that can't be spoken about at the moment. So it's just going to be kind of, wait and see at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm super pumped because of the way Project 2020 went. Like, it was so fun to anticipate it every day. Who is it going to be? What's it going to look like? And then the leaks the night before and getting ready, like, oh, my $20 is ready. Let's go. So,
yeah. Well, if, I like you said, like I can't talk about that much. If there are any questions and I can answer them, I'm happy to. I think that most of the stuff that like Topps is okay with being public is public already. But they have some they've made some tweaks, which if they get them dialed in right, it's going to make like, if you're following a particular artist, collecting that artist and making sure you don't miss a drop of them is going to be fixed, like a really good spot, So I don't know for sure if that's going to be if that's done, but that's something that they were talking about going into this to say, now that especially with getting more and more artists, we want to make sure our customers, if they say, oh, I want to like subscribe basically to like Gregory Siff's drops.
So subscribe to Blake's drops every time he releases a card.
Yeah.
If you're watching
I
the
think
show.
So I think that's like, to me, like that's a really cool thing for collectors. And really for artists, right? If I can go out and if I can be trying to get people to subscribe and then they're subscribed and then they're basically in for the rest of the set unless they may go in and manually cancel. That's great for like acquiring new fans and customers.
No, definitely. And I love how you said getting your art into more homes. I think that was the biggest thing is it opened our eyes to like, I heard about Mr. Cartoon from a documentary I saw on TV. And so there was a couple, but then there were people like I had, I was unfamiliar with, but then I started seeing their art and you start following it, started seeing what else they're doing. And we got to meet and sit, talk with you and go, God, just totally normal guy. He's got all this great art, sports artwork, and we start following it, and you start following him on Twitter and all the other social medias, and you see what they're doing. And I think somebody was working with Donovan Mitchell, and oh my God, he's his one of the artists, and he started kind of doing his own little project with other sports. And I think that was great. It's like, hey, now I'm going to branch out, start doing this, and I think it allowed you guys to get a lot of publicity pretty quickly, especially now with the way social media works, and to different avenues where. Sports guys like, oh, it's like art. It's like, that's not my thing. But then you see it, and it's of your guys, and it's like, oh, I have to have that in my house now. What else does this artist do? I need to have some of that now, and which is really cool. I had to take down all my Thomas Kincaids and and then start putting up some Blake Jamieson stuff around the house. So.
In our YouTube chat, you had commissioned a piece, or somebody had commissioned you to do a piece on a Roger Federer. For one of our listeners, Kevin Jones, and it was his older brother. And so there's a lot of talk going on in the YouTube chat right now about that particular piece and how awesome that was.
Yeah. And I painted that one live too on a live stream.
So that's awesome. I've got 3 questions for you. It's basically the same, same question, just a one-off. You can't choose yourself. Who had the best 20 card run that wasn't yours?
Like looking now, like as a complete set.
Yeah, like obviously we love your 20 card run.
Sure. Yeah. No, I get that. Okay, so if we're looking at like complete sets, I love Naturel.
Yeah.
And it's just is beautiful. And then there's like certain cards that just stand out to me and to me are iconic. And obviously, like, we have like the Ermsey Trout. I think everyone thinks of that card if they're thinking of Project 2020, but to me is like the Big Mac Burger that Gregory Siff did, the F. Dr. K, Doc Gooden with the mask.
Who had the strongest player run? If we were just, I'm going to go out and I'm going to buy. Obviously, I have, Wire, Shep loves Brett, but
you know what? Chris would be so much better suited to answer that question because
we're going to ask him in a little while.
Yeah, well, he's got it all laid out. I got to pull up CRT Sports Cards real quick, and I can tell you. I got to do.
Brett had the best run. Let's be honest. That's the one you wanted.
So while you're pulling that up, what you could buy one card. You're not Blake the artist right now. You're just Blake the card collector.
Yeah.
And you cannot buy any of your 20. So it's a 380 card set.
Sure.
Which card do you buy?
And this is like buying to PC or buying like because I believe that it's going to be a rocket ship.
No,
rocket ship.
No. Okay. 1A and 1B. Which one would you just buy just because it's the coolest card in the set?
So think pre-bubble and then think post-bubble.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. By the way, the Ichiro set's really sick. I just got the thing to load. God, that's so tough. I love the Jackie Robinson Ben Baller is so good.
That is the greatest card, I think.
I do really, really like that card.
Are you familiar with the Stadium Club McGuire that had come out? It's the old Bash Brother poster with he and Canseco.
I think so.
They cropped, so it's just McGuire.
Oh.
I said back in January, I was like, that is the best card of the year.
That's amazing.
Obviously, we don't know anything about Project 2020.
Yeah.
Right? And then I saw Ballers Jackie Robinson, and I was just like, okay, well done, sir. Yeah. And that doesn't take anything away from any of the other incredible artists, included. But it's Jackie first off, and it was such a phenomenal. And I was very big on talking about the cards that, like Old Man Allen, right? Mm-hmm. As an insert set, incredible. As an ode to the iconic cards, I think it missed the mark because they had nothing to do with the iconic card. It's just the player, right? Mm-hmm. I would love that. Mr. Cartoon had some that were kind of off that didn't really pay ode to the iconic card base where you did and Natural did. A lot of the artists did stick to that consistently. But even though that Jackie Robinson didn't, it was it was just phenomenal. That to me, that was the card of 2020, regardless of sport and program. I mean, it was amazing.
Man, Clemente's got some good ones. I mean, it's so hard to pick a favorite. George Brett's, man, they are really nice. I love how bright they all are. Brett might actually have the best player set, I think.
And it's the colors
he does
too.
Have the Chupacabra in his card, so can't argue with that.
I love what you did with the background of his card too. It just made it like stand out and pop to me. I like when the Sif one came out. I liked it because it was different looking. It just had like so much kind of going on with it. Yours was like, to me, it was probably one of my favorites just because of the color and it popped. It was very clean and just resembled the card, but just in a different way. And there were so many great ones, and like Mr. Cartoon, that was great. So that I'm biased, but I agree with you.
Yeah, nice. It's a great set for sure.
So I got a good one for you before Ship kicks you out. Speaking of paying homage, I know there were a few other that for Project 2020 did kind of little Easter eggs. Are there anything to look forward in the future sets? Anything hidden in the background?
Yeah, sure.
Or
So it isn't particularly an Easter egg, but on Let me see where if I have this card. So on the 52 card or 51 cards, we have that little figure up in the corner. So that's like a batter, or actually he's striking out, so it's a strike. So there's a few like kind of template. Like I designed all of these, but it was basically just taking the original designs and then cutting a new stencil and kind of stylizing it in my own style. And those kind of all are just spread out across the cards. But one card in each wave has a different figure that is specific to that. So, like, for example, Trout, he's like the catch over the wall.
Oh, nice.
There's the Griffey, with kind of his swing, iconic, like, follow through. And then in wave 3 and 4, there are two other, like, there's one like stud in each set has like a special icon. So those cards,
cool.
It's not really an Easter egg, but it is kind of cool that, it's some of like the bigger players in the set too. So like, it's Derek Jeter. Also, we have one of him, and who did I do? Oh, I think I did Mookie, maybe his catch at the wall. Also, I can't remember, but anyways, there's 4 of those hidden ones. They're kind of like an Easter egg.
And thank you for pulling, an Elmer Vallo card out. That's even better. I mean, Philadelphia A's legend.
Yeah. Yeah, I got this on eBay for like not a lot, $20 or something.
Yeah, we're in the Sacramento area. Obviously, you're familiar with the Bay Area. He actually lived in Fair Oaks until the day he passed away, which is, hop, skip, and a jump from where Tim and I live. And had I known that, I would have probably been knocking on his door to, hey, Mr.
Not mistaken. Actually, he's one of the original Twins too. When they moved over from Washington to Minnesota.
Well, this is the famous card that Blake talked about on our show. The first time
the one Ben couldn't get.
Yeah, the Beckett Ben was not able to purchase for some fun reasons. But no, let's hope that you get another Beckett cover too with your new Project 70, or even the 51 set, which I think is fantastic. Blake, where can we watch your streams? Where can we watch your paint? See you live and follow you, all that great stuff.
Yeah, so. Blake.art is my website. That's kind of the hub for everything, and that has links to YouTube, Twitter, and whatnot. Twitter and YouTube are just at Blake Jamieson, and usually, I try to respond to everybody, every DM, every message. So that's the best way to reach me.
Awesome. Blake, if you want to hang out with us, I appreciate it. I know it's laid back there. You gave us 30 minutes. I really appreciate you hopping on tonight and talking about all the stuff you've been doing and what you're going to be doing with Topps and your art. So we really appreciate it. And thanks really for being on our show. That means a lot to us. It really does.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course. Thanks for having me. I want to stick around and listen to Chris for a few minutes. Okay. And I'll probably pop off in like 5 minutes or so. Yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, Chris, I need to ask you first. Welcome back, buddy. It's been a while. We've missed you.
Yeah, it has been. Yeah.
Is this just not the best Project 2020 card that you've ever seen?
Wow.
It's the best 401 card in the set.
There we go. Yeah. So give us a little background on your Project 2020 journey. We're gonna go over a few things to the set, but you really just like hopped in and went full bore with Project 2020. So just walk us through. Well, like, what was that all about? Like, how did that go? How did it start?
Yeah, so it started by getting furloughed from work. I just started a new career after 14 and a half years. And I was in a training program, and after 12 weeks, I was furloughed, and I thought maybe I'll never go back. I didn't know because, of the world we were living in at the time. No one really knew what was going on. And so I said, this is a moment in time already. I want to look back in 30 to 40 years at sort of how I looked, obviously, but then how I took it, how I sounded, so I could just look back in the future. And that's what started sort of the daily show, which was just called Furloughed. It was basically me just turning on my webcam and just talking about like real life and then also sports cards. You can go back to those first videos, and I don't even think my first video right now still has like 125 views on it. It was just for me to record. If anyone watched it, it was great. And then as the time went on, I got furloughed. My furlough got extended, and right about then is when I did 4 or 5 shows a week on Project 2020. And it was just sort of random topics because by then we're looking right around middle of May. I think that's when I started doing this, maybe late May. And I went from like 30 views in like a week to like 500 in 24 hours. And I was like, oh, wow, I may have something here. I don't know what it is, because all the content at the moment for Project 2020 was just about how much money you can make, the investment part of it. I was just talking about it because it's a cool set. And then when my furlough became really official for the second time, I just said, let's just go full Project 2020. And then that's when that came out right after the Griffey came out, card 88, of course, 99,000. And so it's like a bubble show almost. And, my YouTube views, all that kind of looks just kind of like the chart on the print runs, but that's how it started. And then from there, it just kind of took a life of its own. I got furloughed through August. And by then I was committed. I was doing daily shows. When I went back to work for a few months there, I think I was doing twice weekly shows or 3 times a week. I don't remember. And then eventually towards the end, I was like, I need to do daily shows again. I want to get back to the cards because I felt the show had gotten too far away from the spirit of the set, which is the actual cards. And so I started to do 6 to 8 minute videos every night for the last 3 months, finishing up the set. So at the end of the day, it was because I got furloughed and I had some time on my hand and I wanted just to record the moment. And this is kind of where I am now with the show overall.
No, yeah, it's great. I mean, I loved how every week or every day, so like I'd go check. Okay, hey, do I have all of my Bretts? Did I get all and I can go to and see, which cards to match up and see the print runs and have all the artists together and you get a good feel of what a set looks like. So I think that was some of my most fun, and I just dug what you did with it. I mean, and you presented it in such a clean and straightforward way, made it easy. In your opinion, what was the best 20 card set that you saw?
I mean, so I'm biased. I'm biased in a way that my top 3 artists are very simple: Grotesque, Gregory Siff, and Natural. I mean, if I had to pick one artist set at the end to keep, it has to be Gregory Siff because he challenges you with his artwork. You can't look at it normally. I mean, you look at his last card, Jackie Robinson. I mean, who would expect to ever see Jackie Robinson in that form on his card? So I think at the end of the day, Siff for me had the best set overall.
What player maybe had the best run overall in your opinion?
I mean, I still think it's Jackie Robinson, although he did have one of the worst cards in the set, in my opinion. It wasn't even Jackie Robinson. I still think Jackie Robinson had the best set because his Natural card for me is my number 1 card at the end of the day.
All right. What do you think the future of the collectability set? So if you weren't around when Project 2020 was live and going, where you could go buy your cards daily, what do you think in a few years when people look back? What do you think they're going to say about this set and what it meant to the hobby, and if it's something that people are going to want to run down because it's just not a card, now it's artwork, and it's a certain point in time in a crazy pandemic-filled year. What do you think the future holds for that?
I mean, for us who were in it in the moment, I mean, it was the wildest ride you could ever imagine from start to finish. For a lot of us, it's giving me a lot of different things. But I think for anyone who was not around in the time period, it really depends on how Topps takes this. I mean, they literally struck lightning in a bottle in the craziest year of any of our lives. And if they continue to promote the artist in certain ways and continue to do card art, it's going to be a great thing for the hobby. If they do not promote it at all, or if they do not continue art cards, it's just going to go away and no one's going to really look back on it. We'll look back on it with fond memories because we lived it, but no one in 5 years is going to go. No one's going to go to the National in 2027 looking for Project 2020 cards if Topps is not doing art anymore or art with cards.
And I did have a question for you 2 weeks ago. We were going to have you on. Will there ever be another set like this released in the future? And then boom, we have Project 70 coming out. So are you going to be our go-to guy? Are you going to be our reporter in the field for Project 70?
Like, that's the goal. Now, I don't know if I can do the shows every single night. I don't know how they're going to release the cards. I think it's going to be my biggest concern with Project 70 is the structure. I thought the Project 2020 structure was fantastic. 2 per day, 10 a week until the very end there when they had to really blitz it to get to the end. But if there's too many cards, too many artists, you could get lost. And so I want to be the resource that I already have a Project 70 page on the website. I want to make sure I want to have my website really to be the home of Project 2020, which already is, but in the future for 70, but I'll see how the content goes. But it really depends on how Topps releases the cards. If they do 10 per day, that's going to be a fire hydrant every single day or water hose. It's going to be too hard to, really maintain.
I think it's going to be three a day.
3, okay. That's not too bad. We had success with 3 per day at the
Monday
end.
through Friday, 3 a day.
Okay.
I believe that's going to be the plan.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, no. So then, Chris, we're gonna have you come on again and then be our update on Project 70 stuff and be our go-to guy there. Was there one card that stood out as like needs improvement? Like, remember in school, like I used to get ties as shoes. Well, like that was always a need improvement. So even to today, I don't tie my shoes. Is there like a card that you look back and go, this card had this version of the card had some opportunity?
Yeah, but the one thing I never on my show, there are times where I critique cards, but I try to keep it mainly positive because I know that my viewers are not collecting what I collect, right? Not everyone's a Grotesque fan. Not everyone is a Gregory Sif fan. And so, yes, there are cards out there, but I never really wanted to focus on those cards. I just sort of bypassed them on the show or maybe gave a random critique on the show, but I don't really look at the cards as negative because I can't come anywhere near that kind of level of art from an art perspective. And so I never wanted to be too negative on a card.
No, I agree. And the thing is that I found it's one thing we saw a picture of the card online versus actually seeing the piece in your hand.
Yeah.
It was completely, there were a few artists where you in hand, like the online pictures, no matter how you put them on it, were never going to be as good as they were when you got to move the card or you got to see all of the detail that went in the card.
Like Don C's Frank Thomas, right? His first card, number 73. We all thought that was going to be an amazing card, and it came out like dull printer. Like that's a legit but that's on Topps. I mean, that's not Don C's fault. That's Topps' fault for having him put a card out like that and then not giving him a foil finish. Because I said for months, there's cards that should have foils. I mean, Matt Taylor should have had a foil set from the beginning, not just because he's special, but that's his style of art. That's to me what should make sense. It's not going to work for every artist. I mean, a foil on natural cards don't really get me anywhere, but on a Matt Taylor, on some of Don C's first two cards, his Ripken and his Frank Thomas just were really dull because of the way they were printed.
Well, yeah, and like Ben Baller, I know he had this Ben Baller Chrome, but I believe like if his Project 2020 cards had been in Chrome, they would even stand out just a little bit more because they were always like they had like the iced out feel to it, and I think that would have given it just a different look, and they would have, I think, stood out more to collectors. But I just have a question, Blake. How come you didn't get a Topps Chrome set? Like, what happened? Like they were like, oh, we're gonna go,
Yeah, well, I mean, like I
Ben
said,
Baller, like Blake Baller.
Well, when the wave was really on the up and Topps started talking to the artists about future projects, so I didn't have a team going into the year, right? I had no employees at the time. And at peak, I had like 7 employees, and now I have a few. So like negotiating with Topps and choosing our sets and everything like was just me and Topps. Someone like Ben has an agent, and a man and like he has a sports manager that also like manages him. And so like, you get someone like that and Topps and Ben's like was the biggest name in the series, right? He had millions of followers and successful podcasts and this and that. And like his print runs are way above everyone else's, which is, that's Topps, that's money, right? So Topps likes that. So, I think that Topps Chrome fits his style really well, like you said. And so if it's that having a big audience and then also like having a team of like agents and lawyers and stuff that are going to like hound Topps and like make the deal happen for Topps Chrome to happen in time, more power to them. I think that's great. And to me, honestly, like my art is much better suited, I think, on a 1951 remix than it would be like if my cards were on Topps Chrome. It'd be cool, but I think it's going to be, the one I'm happy with. The one I wouldn't trade places with Ben.
I agree with you. Seeing Project 51, it fits, and we have like Topps Living, and it's the 53 design. They finally brought in a second artist to help out to do a card a week, so the duties now are split. I can't imagine what it would be like to have to do 3 of those portraits a week, or to have that catalog to be able to go to, just with the detail and stuff. If they came to you to be a guest artist in a set like that, would that be something that where it's a real full-on portrait, or does that just take away from a little bit of your creativity because you want to add your own little flair to it?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if they gave me some creative freedoms, I definitely would be open-minded about it. I think that the difference is, I don't know the structure of like the royalty structure for artists, but I know that like when Project 2020 came out and us artists were getting just a percentage of gross sales, that was like a really big deal in the arts. Like often all the card designers in the past had gotten paid a fixed like $500 to design this card, and however many we print, that's up to us. Whatever money we make, that's up to us. You're getting this money, take it or leave it. So I wouldn't do it. Like I probably wouldn't do any card deals that are that direction. But if it was like a comp plan that made sense,
yeah, that's cool. Well, guys, I mean, do you guys have any questions for anybody? I mean, I like 45 minutes with you two guys. I mean, it's been great to have you on and kick off the show, and get some behind the scenes and what's coming up. So I know I'd love to have Blake on once Project 70 comes back on. Definitely Chris coming on and talk about it again. I think would be wonderful. But anything else, guys, before we get to the meat of the show? We've already had our dessert.
Thanks for having us. Yeah. No, yeah. It was awesome, man. I appreciate it.
Appreciate both of you guys, and thank you so much. And make sure you're following Blake. Check out Blake.art and all of his stuff, and follow him on Twitter and Insta. And YouTube's awesome because you get to see you're live every night at like 10:23, correct?
Yeah, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And you get to see it. And there's, I remember when you were doing like you were painting cards, like you would get cards and you would just paint on them. I think that was awesome.
Yeah.
And I remember you talking about being able to buy retail last time we were on, and now like retail doesn't exist because everybody's like sleeping in front of Target to buy blaster. Make sure you're checking out Chris. Check out CRT Sports Cards online. I mean, on this website, it's amazing. I know if you want to really make Chris feel good, you donate a cup of coffee to him, which I think is the coolest thing ever to help support Chris get through it and make sure he's giving the good report stuff. So I love it, guys. I really thank you so much. It means the world to us.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
So,
thanks.
I love it when we have guys that come on and they've been on a couple times and they can hang out with us and we get to share the love. So I really appreciate it. See you later, Chris.
Thanks,
have a
guys.
good night. Ben,
You too.
like Blake comes on and like reached out and say like, I'd love to come on the show. I want to talk about my new solo project. And I was like, dude, heck yeah. Like, yeah, you can slide into the DMs whenever, man. Like, let's do this. Let's hop into it. That was last. Go ahead, Steph.
Just real one thing, Tim.
Sorry.
I'll say this, that I've personally, in all my vocalness, if that's a word, on Twitter about Project 2020, I've tagged quite a few of the different artists, and Blake is one of the most generous with his time, if not the most generous, responding to pretty much anything. At the very least, he obviously like anybody, if it's something positive. But he likes just about anything I've ever tagged him in. So his interaction, and I mean, I'm sure this guy went from being busy to ridiculous busy, right? Like Spaceballs, right? When they're like changing the speed, right? Like ludicrous speed. It's like this guy went from being uber busy to like ludicrous busy.
Or Little John speed.
Yeah. I mean, just think about that, right?
He said he went from having no employees to having up to 7. Like that's think about that. That's crazy.
That's a good step up. Sure.
Yeah. It's not like I'm sure he was hurting for business before this. So I mean, he's such a good. We've had a lot of people mention it, including Kevin Jones and stuff. How great of an ambassador he was for Project 2020, but really, the art world as it fuses with the card world and kind of creates this Venn diagram of. I mean, cards have always been art. They're always, but it's more Nick Wasika art than it is Blake Jamieson art, and now we're kind of seeing
name dropping.
I know,
No, but it's not wrong. I mean, after say even the '60s, it started to be more photorealistic than painting. So, I mean, you got like 53, 54, 55, 56 tops. I guess 57 would be the first photorealistic.
Terrible. It lost.
Set.
It didn't lose.
It lost.
Hey, I can have it when people are wrong.
That's so true, though, that 57 was unlike anything we had seen up to that point, including what we had seen with Bowman and Leaf before it. So it's not just
53 Bowman.
53 and 54 Bowman, but
listen, 57 tops is almost as bad as like 81 Fleer Donruss.
I mean, I disagree for many reasons, but
you're not able to disagree.
Yeah,
hey Shep,
he's a great guy, and Blake was phenomenal. For him to reach out to us and say, "Hey, I'd like to come back on the show," and obviously he, like so many of our other guests, have an open invitation. We can't wait to get back into his brain and pick it once P70 comes out and we officially know what it is.
That's going to be an insane ride. I can't. I'm like, it's like maybe like a car wreck. You just can't wait. You just can't look away. I'm not saying it's going to be terrible and bad, but it's going to be so much to consume. If Snoop Dogg is involved, do we get him on the show? Like
Snoop Lion. Get it right.
He can bring his green hat.
The week that was last week's release is Topps Living Week 150. We had card 381 Bob Feller, Hall of Fame pitcher from the Cleveland Indians. He probably didn't sell
signed.
Yeah, probably sold less than when he signed in his life. And then card 382 Austin Hayes, outfielder from the Baltimore Orioles. I didn't get to see because I've had no internet today, so I don't know what they sold. But there they are, fancy looking cards. Again, it was neat to find out that was the third or fourth rendition, I think we said, of the Cleveland logo, and this will be the last year they're referred to as the Cleveland Indians. Mm-hmm. So
Cleveland, just go full meme at this point. Call them the Cleveland baseball team.
And they can't be the Cleveland Indoors.
No,
that's what I was hoping for. And then we have 2020 Topps Archive Signature Series Active Player Edition baseball.
There is no update on print runs.
Okay, 2021 Upper Deck Artifacts Hockey with your bounties, and then and I wonder if Greg Williams from the old Saints days is going after that bounty. And then 2020 Panini Contenders Football, which we decided has probably the worst base set ever created. Hot off the presses, this week's new releases: Topps Living White 151. I know Eric Hosmer was card 383, and somebody was card 384. I don't remember. Steph, you have that.
They are.
If you check the DMs, the podcast DM, we have the O-Pee-Chee previously
Simeon.
with Royals, Eric Hosmer.
Oh, I didn't even see that yet. No, that's
I just
awesome.
posted that. Yeah, so we have Topps Living Stat has had a little bit of fun with Simmons. Now with the Twins, Marcus Semien, now with the Blue Jays, he's created that 84, 85 O-Pee-Chee fill to Topps Living and dolled them up with different things. And so since he had done the Semien and then he did the Simmons, he also did a Hosmer. But it's Dylan Bundy is the other one.
There we go.
Not today with the Angels.
Of the Angels. So you have Hosmer at 383 and then Dylan Bundy's card 384. Again, you have a more well-known name and then a former super uber prospect, Dylan Bundy, who's on his second team. Remember when he came out? I mean, he was like, it was Bundy and Archie Bradley, this high school arms out of Oklahoma, back in the early 2000s, late 2000s, early 2010s.
I remember when Bundy first got traded, I was shocked. Like, are you serious? Why would you trade a guy like this? And it was all just that name value.
Yeah.
How we associate, how many years was Brian Bullington, the old Pittsburgh Pirate guy? He was just a name. And it was just like, Mark Appel. There were so many guys that we associate with high draft slot. And then you just go, man. And then eventually it's just like, yeah, I remember that guy.
Like Jamieson Talion got traded to the Yankees. and he was the number 2 pick after Bryce Harper, and picked right before Manny Machado. And I think Chris Sale was in that draft at like 12. Woo, oops.
Yeah, and
Pittsburgh finally traded him.
In fact, my A's prospect top 50 2021 prospects for prospects1500.com comes out tomorrow, and in the staff chat, a lot of people are saying how big the Pirates definitely won that trade with 4 prospects, and it's just like, yeah, when you look at it and go, seriously, Italian. But
they got that Cannon Smith kid who right now is kind of a name from the Yankees. But okay, so what does it do to his value? Because everybody was trying to like prospecting this kid because he was a Yankee outfielder, and now he gets traded to the Pirates. So now his first Bowman cards as a Yankee, and he could debut as a Pirate. They come down way down, and if the Pirates aren't as collectible as the Yankees, so just light them on fire. That's why prospecting is not a safe. You can't have that. You can't have you're busting Tums.
The only Pirate that I can think of that even remotely stayed hot. I mean, Jose Bautista.
Yeah,
but he wasn't with them. He wasn't with them long.
No,
he
wasn't good. Yeah, he was on like 4 teams before he actually like really hit.
Well, you had the big trade, Austin Meadows, and what's the pitcher's name that went to Tampa for Chris Archer?
God, they had Shane Baz, Glasnow.
Yeah, Glasnow, and I know both Glasnow and Meadows were kind of, they both kind of taken a step back in their development in Pittsburgh, and then both of them kind of took a step forward once they went to Tampa. Product of opportunity, different organization. Sometimes, especially with pitchers, guys get into another organization and they get their mechanics changed, or
they never let Meadows play, and that was the thing. They just and they give him opportunity in Tampa, and I think that's great because that's the only way that they're going to get better. And I think you're going to look back on that deal and go, man, they really raked one over on Pittsburgh there. So that kind of that trade killed Pittsburgh for the next 10 years. Pittsburgh will not be.
I think it slipped all of our minds. Andrew McCutchen.
Yeah, I said McCutchen.
Well, you had guys like there are 2 guys that I think for a long time at the major league level, because of their contracts, were so attractive in trade talks, and that was Chris Archer and Jose Quintana when he was back with the White Sox before the Cubs had acquired him. And they're young, they're on a team-friendly contract, and a lot of times, again, these names just become more popular and than the associated stats and the performance, right? It's like,
well, and Quintana got traded for a guy named Eloy.
Yeah, and now he just signed, I think, a 1-year deal with the California Angels.
Anaheim, Los Angeles. Angels of Anaheim, California. 90210. Let's get into it. We also had 2020 Leaf Metal Baseball drop, and it comes out Friday. The only reason we're talking Leaf is because it was the only sports product that was non-entertainment product that was released this week. You have a hobby version and a jumbo. The hobby's going to run you $113 a box, 1 pack, 6 cards per pack, all autographs. The jumbo's going to run you $195, 1 pack, 10 cards per pack. You're going to get 10 autographs and one proof autograph that's encased in a slab. It's 120. There's 127 base autographs in there, and there's 39 parallels, 40 if you count the printing plates. So one hell of a rainbow. It's the checklist is full of the 2020 draft picks and top prospects. One of my favorite ones I think was cool was they're bringing back the 90 Leaf design and the chrome makeover. So there are some autographs with the 90 Leaf design and chrome. So awesome. That was our one product this week. Check out Ryan Cracknell's articles on Beckett.com/news for more details on these releases. Last week's show was amazing with
teaser for last week's release. Upper Deck Artifacts. I found a blaster box in the wild. Actually, I had 2. Only left with 1. Got to try it. Did end up with one nice parallel card. Cards look nice. Did have some issues with a couple of the corners, but Upper Deck's got it taken care of.
Nice.
And I mean, for retail, you can't get much worse.
Hey, I'm excited. I got to complete my Series 1 Upper Deck set from 3 collectors reached out and really hooked me up to knock off. I think I needed like 45 cards and cleared up. So now I'm really thinking about doing the Young Guns for it. But there's one Young Gun I'm not going to get unless I pull up from a pack. So, or my
loose
friend
packs. I've had much better luck.
Yeah, my friend,
if you decide to go that route, I do have an extra 250 with his split Young Gun.
Yeah, my friend Denise, her and her cousin, their sons play hockey, and so they've been buying hockey cards with them. They each pulled out of a blaster an Alexi. So
nice,
good for them.
Yeah.
Let me know if they're missing any. I have like 2 rows of a 5,000 count box full of upper.
Oh, nice. What's brewing next week's release is 2021 Panini NBA Hoops Prism Basketball, NBA Hoops. Just NBA Hoops, no premium or anything there. Drops next week. It's the one release, and it's probably going to be like $10,000 a box because it's hoops. Donruss was going for $1,200, whatever. So, yeah, we'll see what that is. Infield chatter, our hobby talk section, part of the show. I want to hit back real quick. I talked about the passing of Hank Aaron, the 25-time All-Star. He had 20 seasons where he hit 20 or more home runs. He would have 3,000 career hits if you took away all of his home runs. He hit 755 home runs. He would have still 3,100 hits. He's the all-time base leader. He's the all-time RBI leader. He's like top 5 in like all of the categories you could think you would want to be in baseball. I think besides batting average, but I think he's still batting like 305 for his career. He was in a Milwaukee Brave, an Atlanta Brave, and then finished up as a Brewer the last few years. He probably was the greatest living baseball player still alive until Friday. By the way, he passed away of natural causes. It's not because he got the COVID vaccine earlier in the month. They said he died of natural causes. I mean, the man was 86. And
sure.
What I love about
go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I think I'm going to trump your question. Go ahead and ask your question first.
Well, who now takes the throne of the greatest living baseball player now around?
Willie Mays, right?
That's what I was going to say. Is he still kicking?
Yeah. So, I mean, that argument of Mays versus Aaron, I was kind of being a sarcastic the other day with talking with Lanny Ribes, who I think we're going to mention here in just a moment as well. But we were talking about Mickey Mantle and kind of undervaluing him, and I was kind of, hey, the dude couldn't even out homer Roger Maris. He was number 2 on his own team, so how is he great? But when we reflect upon Hank Aaron,
pride of Fargo, North Dakota,
when we look at Hank Aaron, we have to look way beyond his contributions as a baseball player. Baseball was what he did, but he was a cultural icon. He was an activist. He did so much in that post Martin Luther King Jr., late 60s. He did a lot for the African American community in the 70s. Obviously, I might not be the person to speak to his contributions, but he was an ambassador for the game. He was an ambassador for activism and African American movements and equality, and he was an ambassador as a man. He was just an all-around good person, and avoided a lot of the pitfalls that life has, at least to my knowledge. Wasn't associated with the drugs and the alcohol. He wasn't associated with a lot of the negativity that comes with some of the other athletes that we see during his era, as well as the ones we currently see. And Hank Aaron was a phenomenal person. Oh yeah, and also he was an incredible baseball player. Yes, it's what he did, but he wasn't defined by just that. And personally, I think when we're building top 3 lists, top 10 lists, and those are all arbitrary and subjective, right? My dad told me last night, you know who belongs in the Hall of Fame? Tony Phillips. And I'm like, Dad, stop. We were talking about Kurt Schilling not getting in. And he's like, I like Tony Phillips. He was a Hall of Fame player to me. And okay, he's
so
not wrong.
The team Hall of Fame,
right?
Whatnot. So my question is, think about like the 50s and 60s there. the outfield of Mays, Aaron, and Mantle. I don't think that at one point in time you could build a better. I was thinking, like in our generation of us growing up, it would be Bonds, Griffey, and Sosa.
No.
Like who's the third? Like
Larry Walker for a time.
But there's nobody like those three.
Sure.
What was the Willie Mays quote where he said with the All-Star team, he goes, "You could bat me, Hank, and Clemente 1, 2, 3. And it doesn't matter how you round out the rest of the lineup." He goes, "Because we're going to win."
That's what I was going to add. I mean, you don't even have to leave the national. You don't even have to leave the National League to have the top three.
Yeah, I mean, I think Henry Aaron, and I've been guilty of this before in arguments. I think when you start to argue the best players of all time in baseball, a lot of times his name doesn't immediately pop up. And I think that's a gross disrespect to him. And I don't think we're doing that intentionally. I think a lot of us see him as the home run leader. And then guys like Mantle and Mays and obviously Ruth and more modern days guys like Bonds and Griffey, they come into this conversation and it's like you look at it and go, "Oh, wait a minute. I forgot." It's like having pancakes without the syrup. You can't not have Henry Aaron in that conversation. And I think a lot of people, myself included, have been guilty of leaving him off that short list of greatest players of all time. And I think DiMaggio is another one that I think gets left off that list a lot and overlooked.
You look back, and I still think I was talking in a private group chat on Twitter, like Aaron before he passed, and if you're using RIP Hank Aaron in your eBay listings, may you go to hell. But he was still so undervalued up until recently. I mean, even now, it's his cards just. It's crazy to me how accessible his cards are compared to some of the other guys that we mentioned. I mean, even Willie Mays isn't as affordable as Hank Aaron, and you could battle that Aaron was a better player than Mays. But Mantle blows everybody out of the water. It's fine, but you look back and you're like, he was better than those guys. I mean, if you just look at pure numbers and what he did, he won one MVP, won a World Series. Yeah, he didn't have multiple, but he was, he didn't play on always the greatest teams. He wasn't playing the biggest of markets. So, he did win one of each. So you got to give him that.
Well, and speaking to him as a person, and not just getting the Presidential Medal of Freedom from the U.S., but he was also awarded Japan's essential version, the Order of the Rising Sun. I mean, there's like Tommy Lasorda and a couple other sports long-time players. Japan supremely loving baseball. Makes a lot of sense. But it's their award for foreign and domestic dignitaries that of significant note that contributed to humanity. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. Well, you talked about our buddy Lanny. Do you have a final thing there on Hank, Ben?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm friends with a lot of guys on Facebook that were former major leaguers. Guys like Marvin Freeman and Charlie Hayes and Reggie Sanders and Eric Davis, and the amount of love and respect that has been pouring out over the last couple of days from those individuals that, are posting pictures. Obviously, they probably had personal relationships as well. But I think that where he stood within that personal, fraternity of players was second to none. He transcended the game of baseball, and he kind of took the torch from Jackie Robinson and a few of the other first African Americans, starting in '54, and he was a member of the Negro Leagues, and he kind of took that torch and moved on, and he held it well. And it would be it's hard to argue against him if you're saying the greatest player of all time. He belongs in the conversation with Ruth and Mantle and Mays and whomever else you want to put on that list of, again, no right or wrong answer, but again, we lost a good human being.
Absolutely.
This past week.
And I mean, so Here's a good sign of the times. When we were living in Alabama, 95 to 99, give take. Yeah, somewhere in there, plus or minus a couple months. It's not too far in the 90s that you're not too far removed from people's fathers and grandfathers having certain sheets in the closet and having very morbid opinions. But, we'd walk around town and naturally sports would come up. And even they would say, one of the best we ever saw play. It's just a natural talent. And, I mean, if people from that upbringing can cross everything that they've learned, nature, nurture, whatever you want to call it, to say, I love the way he played. I mean, a true talent was lost.
Yep.
Both humanity and player.
Yes, yes, he was. You talked about Lanny earlier. He completed the 1953 set. He said, massive mail day for my buddy. Dig of the Shadow picked the final three I needed. 1953 Topps is complete. Never thought I'd say that. No good way to flip pages. So here's the box with its 54 and 55 set brothers and some 53 biggies. Thanks, Lennon. Much appreciated. It was,
Well, and you think you'd be surprised it's not the mantle or the page or the whatnots, but Sam Calderon, Willie Miranda, and Roy McMillan. I personally love the Miranda, if not for the Browns logo, but for the advertising that Topps snuck in, not from the original picture. But also, I mean, that's a tremendous set. And I mean, we're seeing what Topps living, but that's a tremendous accomplishment.
Yeah, I mean, because you have Jackie, you have Campanella, Mays, Mantle, Satchel Paige. I mean, there's so many. Eddie Matthews, Bob Feller, Pee Wee Reese, Yogi, Whitey Ford, Spawn. I mean, there's so many amazing talents in that set. And again, this is the set that inspired Topps Living. So to me, it's one of those. It's a gorgeous. That set really, I think, Living's helped me really appreciate what this set is. And looking back on it, it's pretty fascinating.
Well, and I know we all have our opinions on archives, but do you guys have any of the 93, 94, somewhere in there, Topps archives?
I don't.
Where they reprinted these on flimsy paper stock?
I think 92 or 91. I remember it was 91 that did 52 Topps and 93 did 53, I think, something like that.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, you see it all the time again on Facebook where people are like, hey, I just found this 53 Topps Mickey Mantle. I want $500 for it. And it's like, guy, check this out.
First of all, that's the foil parallel of the regular one.
Yeah, it's like,
they weren't doing
like Mr. or Madam. It's like, it's a great card, but it's from the early 90s archive. It's not a reprint. It's its own release. It's an original 1993 Topps archive.
We're getting more Sapphire.
In fact, to teammates one time, I was able to pick up the 53 set. I think I had it for like $20. And it's like, seriously? So, yeah, those sets usually run about $80 to $100 if I'm not mistaken. At least last time I looked, that's about what they were trending at.
I think that was the second reiteration of them trying to do an archives heritage set. Because I think they did one in like 82, 3, somewhere in there for the 52 top set.
Interesting. We have more Sapphire. Pack to the Future tweeted out another Montgomery set sale tomorrow. This a couple days ago. Topps Chrome Update Sapphire became available to Montgomery Club members yesterday. I believe it was limited to and $150 a box.
Yeah, I think that's what I saw.
I had the opportunity. That's one of our friends that is in the Montgomery Club said, "Hey, I'm going to pass on these. Do you want them?" And I said, "No way," because I opened enough base update to know how terrible. I mean, there's no driving card. Like, there's not even one guy that you're like, "Oh my god, I need to." That would really push the box. Like if you pull that card, you would definitely make it worth buying that box. And so I ran away and I said, I'm good. It's not like past years. And Topps Chrome Update was only released at Targets, and I've not seen hardly any of it anywhere. I know Ben mentioned
you
that.
just jumped in front of me to say that.
Oh.
I haven't seen it. I have the last 2 years near complete. I'm missing the Acuna from 18, CMT 55. But I haven't seen it in stores at all. I found several boxes of 1920 Parkhurst before I found Topps Chrome Update.
I actually picked up the Pink Wave Maguire earlier today before I picked up the base Maguire. I know that there's one sitting on Sport Lots for a little over $5, but they're just not very common right now. There's not very many listed, which either speaks to the fact that not a lot of this has either streeted yet, or it has streeted, but people have bought it with the intent to flip it. And as Tim said, because Update's checklist was so weak, you're now asking for a premium on Update Chrome and now Sapphire, to where that checklist is so horrid. I've got a bunch of this because I flipped the shelf, and now I'm sitting with 20 boxes of this, and I can't find a buyer. And because the checklist is weak, I'm not opening this crap.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it's just sitting unopened right now. I could be wrong. That's just my assumption, and that's why we're not seeing a lot of it on the secondary yet as singles.
Yeah. We're gonna talk about buying Fool's Gold here later in the show. Seeing some retail and buying it. So
flipping through the Topps Chrome Update set, the best name through the first 200 that I saw was his name Trent Grisham.
Yeah, Grisham and Randy
Rosarina.
But those are their second cards. They were in regular Chrome with their original teams. Grisham being
cool.
on the Brewers and Rosarina being a Cardinal. So
they fill that checklist. They fill that checklist out with old home run derby crap. You know, it's like so much of that stuff is old crap that
Bartolo Colon free agent card.
Yeah, I mean, and then they did. The A's had 8 cards on the original Update checklist. Update Chrome has 3, and of course they screwed me by putting Maguire on there. It's like, at least put like the modern day players. Who wants this crap? Who want? I mean, honestly, I had the
normally
biggest
it's good, and it's because
Cespedes collection. Who the hell wants a Cespedes home run derby card from 2014? The guy has fallen off the face of the earth, and that's going to be one of 200 of your Update Chrome checklist cards. Nobody's buying it for that crap. Come on.
He's still relevant. His brother just got signed.
2020 Update will be one of those sets that we're going to see at the National 5-10 years from now on the $5 box table.
No,
it's going
to it'll probably be one of those ones where, because nobody had it and everybody, a lot of this product might not end up hitting the streets, to the point where it might be the absolute opposite. Yeah. Wow, that was super short printed, like all that crap from like 05, 06, and 07, where a lot of it just doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Who knows? It'll be fun to keep an eye on.
Speaking of big purchases, $100,000 from Kentucky might be headed here to California. Our buddy Mario tweeted out, any interest in person? This is available. These are available as a package. Bring me $105K, and I will cover your airfare to Cali. Our buddy Jimmy at Kentucky Card said, "I'll do that, Mario, and I'll make a road trip out of it. DM you." It is graded rookies of Jordan, Tom Brady, Steph Curry. There's quite a few Currys in there. A couple the Jordan
right to
sticker.
Left, you got Curry, Jordan. From the main set, let's go Curry again, Jordan sticker, LeBron James, a Jordan SP Authentic Flair Showcase, the Davidson Prestige Curry, 2003 Topps Chrome, 2003 Bowman Rookie and Stars version. You got the Black Diamond from Upper Deck, Tom Brady. And some close-ups, sure. 86, 87 Fleer, Jordan 9. 9 centering, 9 corners, 9 surface, 9.5 edge. PSA 9 Fleer sticker. And the 09 playoff contenders, Steph Curry auto, Gem Mint 10.
Just a ridiculous cards, ones that you see, to have them all together, pretty awesome. And Jimmy's going to make some deal with Mario, which is awesome. And maybe we could effort to see Jimmy on the show again or get to meet him. He also did something super.
He was saying that he wanted to make a road trip and stop in certain markets and say hi to his hobby family. So if he doesn't stop for you guys, he can hit here.
I told him, I was like, dude, the side of my house literally is long enough for an RV. He's like, I'm going to rent an RV, pack it up. And, Mario, I think, is down in Fresno, so it's a couple hours from where Tim and I are at. Good news is next time, if we ever get an opportunity to get down there and check out the LCS with Mario, we now know that he can afford to buy us lunch. But,
So
Jimmy,
again, you're going to plan to leave your wallet in the car?
One time. As OCD as
It was the time. No, and did you see Jimmy this week? There was a kid in a shop, and he was talking about I heard Giannis is your favorite player, and you didn't have anything signed for him. He goes, I was opening a big box of stuff this week, and I'm over at the Jimmy vault, and he goes, I pulled this autographed NBA ball of Giannis, and he just hands it over to the kid.
Amazing.
Just his generosity.
Just, here it is. It's yours.
Here you go. Enjoy. It's going to where it should go.
And when we look back at that situation that happened over that Zion card, where Jimmy got screwed on the buyer, I forget the whole story now, but it's like it could not have happened to a nicer guy. Something bad in the hobbies happened to a guy that literally, if we could replicate Jimmy, and we need more and more of people like him in the hobby. And as we go back to some of those, that situation that happened a long time ago, it's just like, come on, man. Yeah. It can happen to a lot of the chuckleheads in the hobby, but why would something? Jimmy's just such a cool and neat dude. We need to have him back on the show soon.
We do. If you guys remember, go ahead.
I need to ask him about that thing that he mentioned post-show, if he's willing to talk about it.
Yeah. For sure. Remember, we broke some news from Brent Becca a few weeks back talking about a new eBay standard envelope. So it's live, eBay standard envelope. So they're introducing their affordable shipping service for trading cards up to $20. Integrated tracking lets you buy and sell with peace of mind with an icon envelope. So secure shipping for less than $1. Save 70% with our cost-effective shipping services with integrated tracking. Icon of a circle with a white check mark inside it. Simply print your label with eBay labels and send it via USPS. And it's qualified for you to maintain you for your top rated seller status on eBay. Plus the shipment's always protected. So I have yet to list yet with this. I'm going to go back through and look at some of my listings to offer this to all my PWEs, because I have a lot of stuff where it's like the insert sets, like, hey, pick your favorite prism color. Like, here's all the pinks, and here's what I have. And
finish your sets 1 through 50.
Yeah, and I have 75 cent PWEs on there, and sell them like crazy. But to offer this as an option for an extra quarter, hey, you're going to get a tracking number with it. Why wouldn't you? If it's something you want to make sure it's good, and it gives that option. I mean, I'm all for this. I can't wait to check it out and see what it's like, and give those buyers and give the sellers too a little protection offer, a cheaper version of shipping. Because who wants to pay $4 to ship a base rookie card that's $1 or $2, and pay $4 to ship it? So now it's a $6 card.
Yeah,
when you pay $1 to ship it, and now it's a $3 card, it doesn't hurt as bad because you're like, but I know it's coming.
I was talking to Lanny on the phone the other day, and we were talking about this very thing where I'd mentioned, some chuckleheads that are like, quit being a cheap ass. When I said, if there was a listing I saw of $5.50 for shipping, and I'm like, if that's the direction of the hobby, count me out. And again, it goes back to the fact that I buy so much, almost exclusively on eBay, that if $4 is the going rate, let's say I'm paying an extra $1, right, from $4.50 to $5.50 on everything I buy, and I'm buying 1,000 transactions a year. I'm spending $1,000 on shipping, not on just shipping, but on excess shipping. And we're talking about how you need to front load all of your supplies and overhead into the cost of goods sold, not the back end into that third party logistic, shipping cost. That's a hard cost that should go to, the postal service. Not to get off too much on a tangent, but this is a game changer, because if all of a sudden these cards that are going for $4.20, all of a sudden now have $1 shipping, $1.25 shipping, tracked no less. All of a sudden, I mean, yeah, you're. I can't tell you how many times I'm searching through all of my A's guys on a daily basis, and I'm like, I would buy that card for $2, and I click on it. It says $4.45 shipping, and it's like after tax, I'm not paying. That's not a $7 card to me.
Yeah,
it literally is. Like you said, a $3 card I could understand and justify. $7 I can't. It literally is a $2 card, and I understand I've got to pay to get it to my house. An extra $1, $1.25 is different than spending $4.50. Oh, by the way, plus tax. It's just it's all these incremental costs to the point where I can't justify it to myself. Let alone if my wife hops into the checkbook and goes, "What are you buying?"
Checkbook.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. And so I'll update you guys as I do this. I mean, I'm gonna go through hopefully this weekend and have some time to do that. There's a little backdoor action happening over at Walmart. That fat boy Leroy, Chris Leroy, tweeted out, "Panini America Topps, will someone eventually lose their life over trading cards in a Walmart or Target? You will be complicit. The system is broken. Fix it. Excel and MJ cannot handle the distribution of retail anymore." There was a video. Stefan was going to play the video.
And actually, yeah, let me reshare this here. 2 seconds.
Yeah, and it's a video. To me, in the point of view of this, it's a customer that waited outside of the store to open to go buy cards. The store just opened. He gets into the store.
Even open. Guys standing here 2 hours before opening, and we got backdoor action. Backdoor fucking action.
Are you serious? Because I need it.
Because you need it? You're about to lose your job with Walmart now. I hope your family doesn't go hungry over cards, man.
All right.
Where's your manager at? They allow this?
So it looks to me like the guy was waiting outside. The guys were waiting outside to go in and buy cards. An employee who was already in the store swoops up and buys the cards as soon as the store opens, and doesn't allow the customer who's outside waiting to do that because they're already in his cart. Store's open, registered open. I'm going to self-check. See you later. Deuces. I'm out. I have all the product. At Warped Games followed up with a comment. Walmart employees take most of them before they go to the shelves. A lot of stores, I don't even go there anymore. Bo Sloan said, HJM or MJH guys showed up the LCS to sell stuff. So some of it isn't even making it to the store. Pathetic. So you have the guy that's putting it all out, then buying it, and then taking this picture to show it was out there, then taking it all, buying it, and going to the local card shop to flip it.
And I mean, I'm not entirely surprised because I haven't been able to find any Topps Holiday in the 3-4 years it's been released now.
That stuff usually hangs out for months too, and that's the thing. It's
5-10 years ago, if a set like that would have been released, yeah, you could probably find it into February, March. I went into a local shop, and sure enough, hey, they had 3 boxes of Topps Holiday. They had Topps Chrome Update that I've never seen on the shelves. Now, they're buying it from someone else who's doing what the video shows, sure, and the box wasn't too much more than regular, so I know they didn't get it at some sort of discount. I don't know if they're using employee discounts or what, but it almost makes me not want to go to the shop anymore just because, what's the point?
Yeah, and we showed a video last week, 2 different ones, where the Target managers were making the people wait outside, clearing the shelves of all the stuff, and then letting them come in and try to buy, right? There were Target lines this week. Schloman_card said, a friend from Eden Prairie, Minnesota, thank you at Card Purchaser for saving me this. It's like like 10, 12 people lined up to buy cards, and then ripping one-handed, which is a great Twitter handle, by the way. That's nothing. Probably a dozen or more people not pictured. There were 50-plus people waiting to go pick up cards at his store he sent a picture of, just piled on top of each other. We heard last week about people yelling and screaming each other at Target of who was there first in electronics to buy cards. I mean, it's craziness. Like, these people are on women's clothing waiting to buy cards. So, I don't get it. Ben Aguirre
So
sent me a picture.
let me ask the obvious. Which one's Crack and Wax?
Yeah. And
No, I know he wasn't there. I asked him about his chances of actually finding anything, and he's just mimicked everything else we've said.
Well, my
So
Walmart that usually used to have stuff all the time. Where the cards were now was like 6 bays of stuff, like 6 shelving units of stuff they would have there for collectibles. Now it's down to 1, and it's been filled with chips and candy. Our buddy Ben Aguirre sent some pictures, and I wasn't able to without the internet went down as I was making the notes. But Topps Update was from Facebook, obviously. Somebody had like 2 cases of Topps Update blasters they were trying to sell for $25 a box, and then there was somebody they had I have the picture of this stuff. The guy that was like, "Oh, I found gold, fool's gold though, Heritage high number hanger boxes." He grabbed them all, went up and found out that they were $25 a piece, and then quickly ran them back to the shelf. Step open to their trash. But now we have people just buying whatever is there and thinking this is a flip opportunity because, oh my God, it's Heritage high number.
It's a product. It's something that's new. It says Topps. It's a major brand. Yeah. And we did get
but
we were looking for something to break regardless, so it's not really that big of a difference. But we went to the checkout and found out, hey, it's not the $14.99, whatever that we were expecting. It was $25. And okay, sure, it's Heritage High. We'll try 1 box. That's it. We put it back to 2 that we had, and one of the 2 that we had. And this was the result.
Not good.
Cy Sneed, Rangel Ravello, Yohander Mendez, Seth Mahias Breen, Ryan McBroom, Kyle Gibson. There was, however, a Francisco Liriano short print, one of the 700 and up.
To quote the great Robin Williams, what year is it?
A Let's Play 2 Ernie Banks. Okay, kind of a cool insert. 50 cents at most. Quarter, dime bin. And award winners Jacob deGrom in a Mets uni. But
yeah, not great.
That's
why wouldn't deGrom be in a Mets uniform though? That's what,
because Topps has been known to Topps before.
So the funny thing about all of this, now that we're talking about retail flippers and stuff, you're seeing it all over Facebook. I saw it over Twitter earlier this week. I got tagged into a bunch of different conversations. Ivan had at Watch the Breaks had made a comment and tagged me in it about taxes, because we're starting to see W-2s come in via the mail, but we're also starting to see 1099s. And a lot of people are getting 1099s, and they are freaking out. I've been saying this for a long time. Tim, our buddy Eric over at Teammates, unfollowed me on Twitter a year or 2 ago because I was talking about taxes, and he calls me. He goes, "Okay, IRS." I'm like, "Listen, Eric, you cannot buy cards with the intent to resell them and profit off of them without paying the associated taxes." I'm not saying anything that's wrong. If you want to disagree or if you want to turn a blind eye, and I think a lot of people in the hobby have been doing that, and they're being blindsided because PayPal has started 1099ing them, and everybody's saying, well, you have to have $20,000 or 200 transactions. In Illinois, you only have to have apparently 3 transactions sold under goods and services to be able to be 1099'd. In California, technically, the threshold is anything over $600. So a lot of people are getting 1099'd. You can't buy this stuff for $20 at Walmart and flip it for $60 and not think that our fellow Uncle Sam isn't going to come after for their 25, 35% portion of that. That's the way it works. We go to work every day and earn a salary, and then they take taxes. That's what happens. Technically, if we want to play by the letter of the law, if we empty out our garage on Saturday and do a garage sale, we have to report that as income. It is reportable income. As somebody that's done taxes for years and years on both an individual and a corporate level, I'm not sitting there saying, if you sold grandma's vase for $5 to the lady across the street that you should report it. Technically, you should. But this is stuff that's being tracked by eBay and by PayPal. You will get a 1099 in some cases. And if you do, do I have to report it? No, dum-dum, you don't. They 1099 you. What do you think that they're going to do? They're going to send you one. They're going to send one to the IRS. Yes, you have to report it. And other people are saying, well, what if I don't get a 1099? Do I have to report it? Technically, yeah, you do. And if you choose not to, that's up to you. Most of us will never face an IRS audit. But if you do, you will end up paying. Our buddy, what's your buddy's name? Richard? Steph?
Yep.
He had a serious PayPal issue because he let a family member of his do his taxes for a couple of years, and PayPal audited him or turned over the 1099s like after the fact, and he ended up facing a huge tax liability. He's like, now wait a minute. He goes, I was consigning stuff. He goes, I was maybe profiting 3 to 5% off this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but how did the taxes get written? Because if you're showing this $40,000 sale with no offsets to say, I only pulled in $3,000 against it, the IRS is going to come after you for $40,000, not for $3. That's what eBay does, right? They're just a conduit. They're going to say that, hey, Ben sold this and Tim bought this and we only kept 10%. I'm eBay. I'm paying 10% taxes. That's it. The rest of it is going out this way and that way. That's how taxes work. So if you get 1099, don't be surprised and don't act like this is the first time you've seen a tax form.
Yeah, that's why I think eBay's done really well, is because now that when certain states, or if you sell in certain states, that state requires a sales tax. Sure. eBay is collecting that for the seller and then paying it for you. Right. And I think it's awesome because it takes that peace of mind. Like, okay, hey, like at least at state level across the board is taken care of, and you can have those for your records. And so, be careful with all that stuff. And that's what I can say. And that's why I personally work with a tax professional, because I found out that one year, the last year I did our taxes as a married person ourselves, I might have made a mistake. And our tax lady was like, yeah, and so I go see her. She does a great job. She's it's well worth it to hand her a stack of paper and go, you figure it out. I'm going to sit here.
So two things. If you're going to be serious about selling in the hobby moving forward, and when I say serious, if you're going to be selling any more than $1,000 per year, doesn't matter what you profit off of that. I had other people say, well, I didn't profit anything. The IRS doesn't give a shit. Pardon my French. They don't care how much you profited. That's not how it works. You don't pay income tax to the IRS based on how much money you have in your checking account. They base it off of how much money you make per hour. That's how that works. So if you're serious about it, $1,000 might be too low of a threshold, maybe $5,000. I would recommend starting an LLC. So first off, not that any of us would be subjected to a lawsuit. And that's what an LLC does. It protects your personal assets and finances from that of the business. So if a business was to be sued under an LLC, your personal assets are protected. But I would consider opening up an LLC. The second thing I would do, and this is more important, this should be number one, open up a separate checking and savings account for these transactions. I would keep 25% of all of your sales and stick it in savings. You're only going to get a 1.5%, 2% interest, but that's still a little bit of interest. It'll add up over the course of a year if you have a lot of money in there. Keep 25%. At the end of the year, if you get 1099, then you have this money set aside, so you're not in a financial situation where you got a $40,000 tax liability you don't have any offsets for. Okay. And then the thing is, and then if you don't need to use it or don't need to use that much at the end of the year, look at it as a tax return. Look at it as a Christmas bonus that you get in March or April. all of a sudden I have all of this extra money left over that I didn't need. And now I can do whatever I want to do with that. Take your family on a trip to Disneyland. Buy a 53 Mickey Mantle and start a 53 top set. Do something with it. But I would definitely don't keep 100% of it if you're selling in high volume. Steph opens up a hanger of Heritage High and wants to sell a couple of cards. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if you're buying cases, if you're buying all of these on-demand products and you're flipping them, you're buying them for 300, you're selling them for 600, but you're doing it 8 times a year. This is serious. Pay yourself 25%, stick it in the savings account so you have it should the IRS come calling. And if you're selling in high volumes, consider opening up an LLC. If you need any help in that regard, my DMs are always open. You're always welcome to reach out to us, to me personally, and I'll help. It's not going to be considered official advice, but I can at least kind of, let the wind blow and point you in the right direction. And with like I did with Richard when he called and he's like, what do I do? And I'm like, well, the first thing you need to do is print your PayPal transactions and find out what your actual tax liability should be. Second thing I'm going to do is go back and take a look at your taxes and file an amended for 2017 and 2018 until the IRS hold up timeout. My tax liability is not 40. It should have been 3, and hope that you get that tax burden lowered. So they're not going to try to garnish your wages for the next umpteen years, especially since he was so young and naive, didn't know any better, right?
If you're not sure, work with a professional and pay that money to that professional, so you're not paying the IRS long term and having that nightmare hang over your head. By the way, guys,
just call somebody. I know enough to help you get by, at least to point you in the right direction. That's all.
Yeah. Guys, by the way, this just in breaking news: grading is still a scam. At Certified Cards tweeted out, "This is how it started. This is how it's going." He busted out. It looked like it was a Topps Chrome Sapphire Fernando Tatis rookie card. Pretty popular, good-looking card. Mm-hmm. I'm mad because that year was the year they did not go with blue. With the Sapphire, it was just a broken, glass look. So he snaps it out, which is great and fine. I love it, right? And good-looking card, got a 9. Submits it back. So the first one was to Beckett, was a 9. Submits it back because the centering was off. Now it's a 10. Same card, same grading company. All of a sudden, the centering got better. Now it's a 10. Huh? It wasn't a flop. It wasn't a switch over.
Well, give them credit. They were at least consistent that the corners are 9.5s.
The centering got better. And my best statement I've ever heard about grading came this week from JJ_Smuggler. I look at card graders like umpires. They all operate under the same rules, but the interpretation of the rules and execution are different from human to human. Painful, real. I think he meant painful reality, or painfully real. I don't know. Painful, really. There we go. Yeah. There was a new grading card company that's popped out that does it like a hybrid grading card company. I did like the look of their cases and their holders and their labels, but they had one that was graded at 10 centering. And I was going to show it tonight. Just like I said, I didn't have any internet to update the notes, but personally, I don't grade cards. Looking at the card head on with my raw eye, it was off center, but still the centering got a 10. I don't know. They're new, so it's a person in grading. I kind of want to see what was it, SGC, not SGC. What's the one with Andy Broom that we've talked about? Yeah. I want to see what they come out with their new grading system. But again, guys, those are my thoughts on grading. I love now people are starting to tag us in grading stuff, especially when it's grading.
We just need another trendy pack perverty.
Yeah. Like grading, I don't know, like grading gone bad hashtag, I don't know. Our About the Cards Topps Madness, 68 years of Topps
grading
designs.
Gone Wild.
Grading, there we go. We had the first round ended this week. Second round kicked off. Remember, it's 7 weeks long, Wednesdays through Tuesdays. So we had the week 2 kickoff today. Sponsored by Underdog Collectibles. They offer a wide variety of break options that won't break the bank. Remember, always bet on the Underdog. So, Ben, do we have any first round upsets or any major close races that you didn't think were going to be as close?
Yeah,
so look at the James Beckett bracket.
the number 9 seed 1960 knocked off the number 8 seed 1992. That wasn't so surprising, but 1960 had 43 votes. 92 only had 12. So the 9 seed kind of kicked the crap out of the 8 seed. The 12 seed, 1977 knocked off the 5 seed 1966. 30-25. Nothing else was really close. You know, I mean, the number 2 seed 53 beat the number 15 seed, which was 2017, 51-4. So yeah, it wasn't
all the 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s advanced, right?
Yes. Yeah, there wasn't any major. If we go to the Jefferson Burdick, 1-8, 5-4, 6-3, and 10-2. So the 10-2 upset was 78 knocked off 81, 37-18. So that one was also kind of a
It was a 7-10 matchup, so those are always pretty close.
In the Rich Klein bracket, we have a 1-8, 2-7, 3-6, and 4-5. So that's expected. In the Cy Burger, we have a 2-7, 3-6, 4-5, and 3-6. Where was the one? Let's see. Oh, pardon me. Sorry, I'm reading the wrong side. So 1-8, 5-4, 6-3, and 7-2. So yeah. So there wasn't very many upsets in that first round.
Seems like all on the left side.
Do we have where did 57 and it was in the
Cy Burger, you had the matchup of number 6 seed 1967 with number 11 seed 1957. The final score was 34-21.
Not even close.
Not even close. So I voted earlier in the second round, you know, in these quarters. I was the 9th vote. So some early polling numbers. 1960 is a 9 seed, and it's beating 1 seed 1987 6-3 as of earlier.
That was our number 1 overall seed, guys.
That was. Ooh. A lot of them are 5-4. 1980 had 8 votes as a 6 seed. 1962 as a 3 seed only had 1, 8-1. So it looks like 80 will probably knock off 62. I know 62 is not very popular.
Steph's voting live now, and he's done all right here. He's is he going to go 61 over 64? No, 64 won 54 over 74. Ooh, 74.
So yeah, and
then pick 75. Oh, you hater.
So you have number 6 seed 1975 is beating number 3 seed 1984 6-3.
That's gonna be a tough matchup. I love both those. I don't know which one could go.
Yeah, number 7 1972 is beating 63, which is a 2 seed 6-3. So yeah, you know there's definitely some potential that we're going to see some upsets in this quarterfinals, and 1987 might get knocked off.
We're going to get in more detail once we get to the Sweet 16 after this week. It's just real hard to cover 68 different designs and where they are. So we'll get into more detail, and definitely check out. Remember, Underdog Collectibles is giving away when you vote. If when you vote, you put in your email. They're going to give away a box of 2020 Topps updates to one lucky voter. So something we were going to talk about last week, but we ran out of time. We're going to end the show on tonight. 2021 MLB Breakout Player. Paxton Peach last week tweeted out prime 2021 breakout candidate, and it was a picture of Vladdy Jr. from last year, all kind of chubby, like full of Whataburger and whatever else. And this year looking all trim and fit, ready to have a great season. And you remember last year, I was picking up Vlad rookie cards for even the no numbered 700 card. I picked up a few for $5 to $10. And then I was able to pick up a bunch of update stuff, Topps Chrome stuff for around $5. And they just added Simeon. They added George Springer. I mean, they're making a real big push to contend in the AL East. And you look, the Yankees are old, and they keep adding just old broken arms. I mean, they added Taillon coming off Tommy John, Kluber's coming off Tommy John. Severino's coming off Tommy John. So who knows what the Yankees' rotation is going to look like. Judge and Stanton were hurt all of last year. The Orioles are going to they're going to be bottom dwellers. The Red Sox are a mess. The Rays traded away their ace, even though they went to the World Series last year. Who knows what's going to happen there? I think the Blue Jays have a chance to sneak in there and be good. And so that's posed the question to us. Who are your breakout candidates to be like surprisingly good and have very good seasons next year? Steph, who are your two guys? We each have a NL and an AL guy. And luckily, we only picked one each league. So congratulations to us.
So I went with one based on his talent and another based on what team he plays for. I did split leagues. I went Bobby Dahlbeck for the Red Sox. Home run threat, short porch in right. First base, third base should see plenty of time. And then National League, I went with shortstop, third base, second infielder, Jake Cronenworth. Young, slotted between Machado and Tatis, should get some production.
Thanks. Benjamin, who did you go with?
Yeah, in the National League, I went with Zach Gallen, pitcher for the Diamondbacks. He's had some really solid numbers last year, even though it was the shortened season. Obviously, the Dodgers are the World Series champs, and the Padres have won the offseason on paper. Really interesting article on The Athletic about that today. In fact, can you win it on paper in the offseason? But I think that the Padres and Dodgers are going to get some national run, and the Diamondbacks are going to be playing them. So if it's a full season, Zach Gallen might see. I think he'll fly under the radar because the Diamondbacks aren't going to be very good. But keep an eye out for him. In the AL, Sean Murphy. I think if he can get a full season, his biggest issue has been injuries. So if he can end up catching 135 plus games or somewhere thereabouts, I know my picks are a pitcher and a catcher, which are not highly collectible, but as far as, breakout stars, I think Sean Murphy has a chance to be as good as Buster Posey. Maybe the next step down, but again, injuries are going to dictate whether or not he ever hits his full potential.
I like the pick so far. My guys, obviously, I went Vladdy Jr. I agree with Pack of the Future. I just think if he's going to go over, slide over, play third base again, he's in shape. Remember the home run derby, his rookie season, all the hype and everything he had. He looked awesome. And then he had that sophomore slump, and it happens. You get comfortable. Work is hard. There's things that happen. It was a weird season. I'm going to delete that and say, hey, listen, it happens. Remember, Mookie Betts had the MVP season after he had that terrible year, and everybody kind of wrote him off. People look out for Mookie, for Vladdy this year to come back. And then I picked Dylan Carlson, outfielder at the St. Louis Cardinals, local kid here at Elk Grove. His dad been a local baseball coach for ever. I have a feeling that he's going to be able to really do some damage there. St. Louis, great fan base. They really support their guys, and I think that he could be the future down there in a rebuild under the Cardinals team. So we'll see what happens.
I got a bit of a follow-up for you then. Given the person that started this, I have an identical card to this. I believe it's numbered to 199. Keep, hold, or sell?
Hold.
Yeah, I would hold. And the thing is collect. Man, just collect cards. Why does it always? Why do you always have to think about selling? It doesn't matter.
I'm not a Blue Jays fan.
But the thing is, hey, Steph, if it comes out,
gangbusters,
he comes out gangbusters, then you flip it and you go get some more twins for your collection. And I get where you're coming from. You have a great card. You hold on to it for a bit to get a little more excitement behind it, and then you flip it to get what you want. Next week, we're going to have James Good on the show, Run Good Life. He's going to be on in a couple weeks. Our buddy James Kukowski is going to be on. I'm going to get my buddy Brian on Murph. He's a returning collector. I think I brought him up a few times on the show. And he's like, I don't deserve to be on your show. I've seen all the people you have on your show. And I'm like, no, I want your point of view of a 40-something-year-old guy coming back in the middle of a pandemic when the market is in crazy fuego. He's a big basketball collector. He's dabbling in some baseball. His son had some old Pokemon that they were they're selling, and just to kind of get his point of view and to get, that there's a lot of people in the hobby right now and where he is, and so I want to have him on the show. I think it'd be fun to talk about and get his angle on some things, because again, we're old grizzled veterans in the hobby, and that's why we do this podcast. We're amazing and we're awesome, right? Guys, any final thoughts before we head out tonight?
No, not really.
I
I hope everyone has a better week than I've had.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to get Lanny Ribes on soon. I was talking to him the other day. He's kind of hit or miss. But congratulations! It's not just. I mean, we're always gets excited when you complete a set.
Mm-hmm.
But to complete 53, and again, it's not even the coolest set that the man has, because he is the home of the 1987 Topps Gum Stain Wax Back set.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were talking the other day, he's like, people are reaching out to me. Hey, I got a bunch of 85s and 86 Topps. You want those too? And he's like, God, no. He goes, no.
It's funny. I'm happy to say I provided like 5 or maybe 8 cards to him with wax stains from the 87 set. So
I did too.
So my cards are in that, and I feel super excited that part of it.
I told him, I was like, what a stupid ass sideways fantastic awesome thing. I was like, that is one of the stupidest and most amazing, and that's just like you, Tim. We're part of the set, and we don't have to worry about the rest.
Well, yeah, I compare, like you said, you described that set, and that's kind of how I feel about you.
Yeah, it's just, much love, man.
So, yeah. My final thought tonight, the guys know I wasn't sure if I was going to do the show no internet for almost 24 hours now. But my family had some rough news today, and we're not sure what happened, but my wife lost a cousin today. She was 24, and it's been really hard. So I needed this tonight, guys. I needed to be here with you. And so thank you for Steph for getting everything kind of set behind the scenes, and for running the show, and Ben for running down stats and stuff that normally I would make sure we had ready. It really, this tonight helped me quite a bit. So the thing I can say is that if you haven't heard from somebody in a little while, give them a ring, send them a text. Even if you don't want to invade their privacy, or whatever, just send them a text. If you had a bad, not that this happened, but if it made me think, like if you had some kind of a falling, just send a text and say, hey, I was thinking about you today, and just see what happens. So
I tweet that out. I've been very transparent about my depression and PTSD in recent months, and we had a storm here. We knocked Tim's internet out, and I have difficulty and suffer from PTSD when I hear loud knocks, and the wind was knocking on my wall and my window, and I woke up all throughout the night, and I hugged my kids who happened to be in bed because they were scared of the storm. So I was holding on to them a little tighter last night, and we all suffer, and I've tweeted out some of this stuff, and a lot of people have reached out to me in DMs because they're having similar issues or have been through stuff, and whether it's a death in the family, or if you haven't heard from somebody recently, like you said, reach out, give them an internet hug, make sure that they're okay. We're all in this thing together. Life, the hobby, brings us together, and reach out and say, hey man, I'm thinking about you. I love you guys. You guys are my brothers for life. And it means a lot to me that we've been able to share 135 of these together. We've been able to share it with guys like Chris Torres and Blake Jamieson and James Kikowski and James Good and Ryan Cracknell and Brent Williams and all of the other fantastic guests and all of our friends and hobby brothers and sisters that have joined us week in, week out in the chats and on Twitter and through DMs and Twitter arguments and debates. And, hey, wait, we're all in this together. And I know the Shepler family is suffering a loss right now. So our prayers and thoughts are to your wife, Bianca, and her family, your family, the kids, and you'll be in our thoughts and prayers. And our phones are on. Our phones are on for one another. Our phones are on for you guys. And if you don't have our phone number, DM us and we'll give it to you, because they're on 24/7. We would take that call anytime, night or day, if we can. Because we're in this together, and we don't want anybody to suffer alone. Even if you're just having a bad day and you need a vent for 5 minutes and go, son of a gun, Yosemite Sam, Rick and frickin', hey, just call.
Well, my number is a 900 number, so there are fees associated when you call me.
Steph's is an OnlyFans website that you have to go to. Yeah.
Speaking of which, before we end tonight, my wife's going to kill me for this, but I called the internet company and I was like trying to figure out what happened to the internet. I'm like, what's going on? And and they're giving me this whatever runaround. I go, my wife and I both work from home. We require the internet to work. And I said, I guess she's not going to be able to get her OnlyFans up tonight. So thanks a lot. I hung up. So
to end on a more positive note,
more than that,
and less pornographic. I did want to give a plug to somebody who's been in chat most of the night, and his buddy, 3B Collection and Texas Card Dude. I was recently on their hobby show on, Monday, I think? Talking hockey. Went about an hour, just a hair over an hour and a half. You get to hear our show intro that usually gets clipped on ours. At the first couple seconds, but I'll post that in chat there too, and we'll tweet it out, retweet it back out.
Well, guys, I appreciate it all. Thank you very much for the kind words, and this was therapeutic and great tonight, and that's why I love this hobby. It's fun to do, and if it's not fun, then we'll let us know. We'll help you out, maybe give you some ideas and way to make it fun. It should be that way. Remember, we're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on YouTube.
10 Central.
Make sure to subscribe and review our show on all platforms. We really appreciate that. The little thumbs up makes a difference. Remember, follow Underdog Collectibles at UDog Collect. Follow us on Twitter at About the Cards. Follow Ben at Our Trading Cards. Follow Steph at Junkwax Twins. You can always follow me at Big Chef 79. Please share your hobby stories. Grateful. Send your questions our way. Keep collecting. We'll see you next week with Run Good Life, Big Game James. Until then, have a good night.